Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the opportunity to join us for another Fit Nation Lunch and Learn. Today, we are joined by these trainer to the stars. He's got a star haircut as well, which he was shown as well. Mark Jenkins. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Boom. There it is.
What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Oh,
pleasure to
we're
have you
doing.
today.
Yeah, thank you so
Hey,
much for
thank you,
taking the
thank you for
opportunity to join
having
us.
me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So, we sent out a email to everybody. So there was a lot of questions that came in. This is going to be an
Okay.
awesome interview. I'm very excited about it. I had a chance in order to do a little bit of research on you as well before we jumped in, and yeah, I just saw all of the amazing things that you've been able to accomplish in fitness over the years. Many people who are jumping in probably haven't heard your story before, and it's truly and sincerely, I mean, it's really one of the best stories that I've heard of somebody getting involved in the space, overcoming difficulties, and truly triumphing to the highest levels of what you can accomplish within the space. So if you wouldn't mind, would love to have you give a bit about your background, where you first started, and the path that ultimately took you into the world of fitness.
Okay, but feel free to cut me off because I tend to ramble. So if I start
This
going too long,
floor's
cut me.
yours.
All right, but basically, I'll abbreviate and go real quick. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. My name is Mark Jenkins. I'm a celebrity trainer. I train a bunch of people: LL Cool J, Mary J. Blige, D'Angelo, Busta Rhymes, Johnny Cochran when he was alive, all kinds of folks. And I'm 50 years old. I'm from Brooklyn, like I said, and I started in Brooklyn. My fitness journey started getting bullied, running home from school every day. I had a 45-inch waist. My dad died when I was 2, to give you the background on that. So my mom sent me to dancing school, right, with my sister. So I did tap, jazz, ballet, modern gymnastics. Had a dancer's body, was doing all of that stuff. Was actually trying out for Broadway shows at one point. And until the kids in Brooklyn found out that I was doing that, and that wasn't a safe environment for me anymore. So I stopped dancing. And unbeknownst to me, being West Indian, that was the only thing keeping the weight off of me, because the West Indian diet, high carbs, high starch, high sodium, high fat, everything. So, within a couple of years, I had a 40, 45-inch waist as a teenager. So, girls, that was not popping, no girls. Running home from school every day. At that time, they were taking people's sneakers off their feet in the snow. That was big in New York, was robbing people's sneakers. So I had to check to see if guys were outside the school, if I had good sneakers on, or I had to change my sneakers, which was kind of risky because then you had to take the sneakers off, put them in a backpack. So one day after going through my daily ordeal of navigating, trying to get home from school, I went past the Navy recruiter and I said, you know what? I bet you if I could join the military, I could get in shape. In my last year of school, 17, I go in there, I take the test, I pass, get a high score. The Navy guys looking at me, the Air Force guys looking at me, the Army guys looking at me, the Marine guys looking at me. I'm way too fat and out of shape. I'm drinking 40, smoking cigarettes. The Marines is not happening. I already know I wasn't going to pass that. The Army wasn't happening. I know I wasn't going to pass that. The Navy, I said, it's between the Air Force and the Navy. But they told me already, I did my research, that the Air Force was the easiest boot camp. So, I'm looking Air Force all the way. The Navy guy, he sees I'm leaning towards the Air Force. He goes, yo, they got McDonald's on the aircraft carrier. So you're going to miss out when you go to sea. You don't know there's McDonald's on every ship? And I was like, word? Is McDonald's on every ship? Sign up for the Navy right there. I was 17. I had to get my mom's to go sign the paper. So we go to my mother's house the same day. And she was like, she tried to tell me there was no McDonald's. And I was like, yo, stop embarrassing me in front of the petty officer. Sign the paper. And she looked at me and she said, and she signed it. So, she signed it. And I couldn't do 10 push-ups when I joined the Navy. But I wouldn't quit. And it took me a long time to be able to do 10 push-ups, maybe halfway through. And I was literally breaking down in tears every single. Now, mind you, this is the second easiest boot camp in the United States. So it's not really that hard, you know what I mean? But I was so out of shape, but I wouldn't quit. I wanted to get back in shape, and I actually made it through in time without getting put back. I don't know how, But I was basically like crying every day. I got to my station in Meridian, Mississippi, where they train you before you get on the ship. So I was learning my trade, which at the time had a sign where you couldn't leave the base if you were black because KKK was out there. So if you got killed on the base, you weren't responsible to give you what time. This is 1988, 89, to put it in perspective for you. So I was on the base a lot. So I saw a guy who was in shape, a buff dude, and I was like, yo, man, can you show me how to work out? Because I lost a lot of weight in the boot camp, but I was very saggy. I had man boobs and everything, and I didn't have much muscle. I lost a good amount of weight. Didn't know anything. And he was like, yo, why am I going to train with you? I said, man, I haven't seen my feet, man, in years. I would love to be able to see my feet in the shower, man. It's been a long time because my gut was still, you know what I'm saying, hanging out, man. I guess the guy felt sorry for me or whatever. And he said, yo, I'm so-and-so, and you can't quit, if you train with me. So I got introduced to strength training in the military through these guys. I'll speed the story up.
And, this is great. This is great.
So my introduction to squats was squatting and getting punched in the stomach while you was getting squatted, because this is what these guys did. It was in the military. We ran till we threw up. We ran in a three-pound flight deck boots. We jumped rope. And on the ship with the boots on. That's how I got able to jump rope like that, like I do. If you check my Instagram, you see a lot of things I do. So I got exposed to training on a not very high scientific level, but on a very painful, high intensity, like running with the pack. We used to fill up our stomachs with food and then go on these runs and see who would throw up first, and that was like recreational for us. But I didn't know. And it was such a new... and for me, I joined when I was 17. I was able to look people in the eye. It was a life-changing experience for me. I was able to date and get girls. I had confidence. And then at the same time, I was put in charge of 200-300 men, and I think by the time I was 18, I was in the Gulf War. So I was out there in Desert Storm. And, I was on the USS Independence. They got two gyms out there. I was training constantly. And for me, although it was a very tough, stressful time, I had already seen people get killed in Brooklyn. It was in the middle of the crack epidemic. I felt like, an empowered sense of safety within my training and being secure in the midst of the Persian Gulf after they landmined us in. Interestingly enough, that was like one of the first times I felt, because I felt physically empowered, and I was training my mind, and I was in charge of people, and I was in charge of equipment, and people had confidence. It was like one of my first experiences of ever having that. So that was a very impactful experience. But also, I didn't want to, there was a lot of racism in my experience in the military as well, because mind you, this is 1988, 89. And I knew I didn't want to, with the U.S.'s policies, support a racist organization. But I did love the training and the camaraderie of everybody being all one at the same time, if that makes sense for you. So very conflicted feelings at the same time growing up, discovering my fitness, getting in shape. And then also, am I rambling?
No, you're good.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it was a very interesting time, because, I was just like, just being bombarded with all sorts of things, being in the Philippines, being in Thailand, being spit at because I was American in some countries, as I was getting discriminated against in America and couldn't even leave the base to get the training. So here I was fighting against people in other countries as I was getting discriminated against in the country I was fighting for. So, it was a lot of conflicting. As thankful as I am for the training and gratitude, because most of my friends are dead or in jail, a good amount of them, from where I came from. You know what I mean? It's always bittersweet, looking back at it. But so anyway, I get out, I'm 250 pounds, 29-inch waist, 22-inch arms, 32-inch quads, same size head, look just like Beetlejuice. You know and I had never been in shape before, so I was so happy to be Diesel. I would walk like this. I would never put my arms down because I was just so happy, man. So I would not only was my head this small and my shit, but I'd be holding the cup like this, extra strong, you know? And it must have been so crazy. So I got out, I got a job in the post office because that continues to the military time. And because I saw so much discrimination and stuff in the military, I said, I'm going to go be a lawyer, be a civil rights activist. I got the GI Bill, whatever. And I'll use that and go to college, right? So I'm in the post office working, and they're giving me crazy mail because I'm so much bigger than everybody else. I'm breaking down the trucks, right? So I take my last little bit of money I have out the Navy, and I get the best membership. I have no money. I get out in the military broke. I take all of it, and I get the best gym membership because the one thing I'm going to do is maintain my fitness. So I get this gym membership in this gym called the Vertical Club. It's on 50th Street between 8th and 9th. I think it's a Bally's now, but it's still a gym if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. 50th Street in New York between 8th and 9th, Manhattan. In this complex, unbeknownst to me, Disney, Motown Records, this Fortune 500, all in this one little complex, just to put it in perspective. But I'm only working out there, I'm complaining to the gym manager. I say, yo, man, this is size discrimination, man. I'm getting paid the same money an hour, but I'm breaking down twice the trucks. This shit is crazy. And the guy goes, you know what, Mark, you a cool man. Why don't you go get certified? I give you a job in the gym. And I was like, man, there's no benefits. That pays money. And at the time, personal training was paying, I think it was paying $10 an hour for the floor, and it was $15 an hour for a personal training session. Mm. And I was like, man, but I was just so disgusted with the post office job. I had trained a lot of people in the military. I became the go-to guy for getting people in shape when they were about to get kicked out, So I had a little bit of training and training myself. I went and got certified, and I took a job in the gym training people, working on the floor. And, I didn't get that many clients. I was working the floor. I didn't know anything about marketing or whatnot or what have you. But I had a couple of people, just by my sheer size, because, I had 29-inch waist and I was 250. So just by looking at me, I figured I know what I was doing. And I was training these people. They started coming in. I started showing these people what my techniques that I was using in the military. And they started getting the good results. Combined with the information that I got from actually being certified, that kind of put it in perspective for me. I was like, oh, there's rest periods, there's periodization. That was getting the missing components. And then as I was working in the gym, I saw other fitness professionals. So I just started picking their brains. So, I think that was 1993. That's when I started practicing yoga, because I had other instructors I would just walk up to like, yo, you could put your legs behind your neck. And at that time, no one was getting paid doing that. So they were serious practitioners. Like this guy in particular, he used to like knot cloth and swallow it, clean out his intestines, pull the knots out, like really moving the knots through like real yogi shit. To me, coming out the military, who never saw stuff like that, I was like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So it was all, I was like so interested in this stuff in this gym. And, this one lady, she came up to me and she was she was heavy. And I maybe knocked 50 pounds off of her in a month. And she was like, would you like to train my client? She happened to be a publicist. And her client was Brandy, the singer, who's all about, I guess, 12, 13 years old at this time. And I'm like, what's wrong? They said, well, hey, look, she's like developing kind of fast for her outfits for Moesha. This is my first celebrity. We got a TV show for her in LA because she's got the singing thing going on in Motown. That's why she's in New York, but they're trying to get her for this show, but she's developing too fast for the character they're trying to play. So they introduced me to Brandy. I started training her, and I'm like, well, how much money do I get paid? And they're like, yo, well, we'll give you $70. And I was like, damn, $70? And I said, how much are you going to pay me? They were like, we're going to pay you for 10 sessions. I was like, what, $700? I'm getting paid $15 an hour. I was like, damn, so okay. So I got Brandy. We're rocking. I'm like, Brandy, what are you eating? She probably doesn't even remember this because she's all of 12, 13 years old. She goes, oh, I eat Popeye's fried chicken. I'm like, stop eating that. Case solved. She drops the weight. She gets a TV show and then she travels to California, I think within 10 sessions. I was like, damn, the money came, the money left. So I was like, damn, I could actually make a living doing this. Because, I'm thinking I'm going to go be a civil rights activist lawyer, and I'm just trying to stay in shape. I said, well, I can make money doing this. So I said, let me start doing what I learned in the military. So everybody who had on a nice outfit, I started doing recon. They had nice shoes on or a suit. I said, yo, I train you for free, right? Here's a marketing tip for you trainers. People rarely turn down access for free. That's how I was always able to get access. I said, hey, anybody with a suit on, I said, hey, I'll train you guys for free. I just want to get a lunch with you where I could sit down and take notes once a week. So sometimes I would train people 3, 4, they would take advantage 5 times a week. A lot of people lived in the building. I would train them every day. You know what I mean? And I get lunch for the week and I would ask them what they do, how they do it, how they get good at it, what's their position. The stuff they taught me in the military, so I would take notes, And, I would learn, and then I'd be ask them questions. I'd be like, hey, man, if you were a trainer, how would you get it popping? So again, I never asked anybody in the fitness industry. I only had access to CEOs, artists, entertainers, publicists, marketing experts, what have you. So I never learned fitness marketing or strategy. I learned it from a music perspective, if anything, or fashion, right? Mm-hmm. And they would say, hey, man, you need to train a publicist if you want to get into the magazines. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then I would go find a hot publicist, see if they were in the gym. I would do recon. I'd train them for free. And then I say, hey, publicist, how can I get it popping? They would say, hey, you got to go train a photographer. Train a photographer for free. So eventually I was training so many people for free, I couldn't do any one-on-one sessions. I was living in the projects, subsidized housing, because I was making no money. So I was training people and I was bouncing at the time. Now, mind you, I just got out the military. I could probably get any job with my military credentials. It was right after the war. And I had an aviation specialty in the military. I was working on F-18s. I was working with F-18s in procurement, because I came in there fat. So when I joined, I made sure I had a desk job. So my job was, I made sure it was nothing physical just in case it was too rough for me. That's how out of shape I was when I joined. But I did that there. And they gave me the, they gave me the information on how to structure a business and company. I was living in the projects and that's pretty much how I learned. So when my next opportunity came, which was D'Angelo, maybe 4 or 5 years later, I'm living in the projects. I don't have any money. I'm eating mackerel, frozen vegetables, and brown rice every meal, divided into 4. And I had 2 protein shakes. So that gave me my 6 meals a day because I had no money. I was jumping over the turnstile every day to get to work. And I had a bottle of water, which I bought for every client, which I was training for free. And then I had a photocopy because there was no emails of the latest muscle and fitness articles or muscular development with diet and nutrition, because that's all I could access and photocopy at the time. I could photocopy for free because I worked in the gym. So all of this I did, I hadn't any money with my budget, so I had to jump the turnstile every single day to get to work. And I was living in the projects and nobody knew the whole time. Am I rambling too much?
No, this is great. Keep going. Yeah.
Okay. So my mom was going crazy. She's like, yo, what are you doing? You can get another job. And I was like, listen, this is what they taught me in the military. I said, eventually I'm going to reach a tipping point because I would have trained everybody for free who was famous. So once I break through, I would already have known these people. Like once I get some pictures or once I can afford to do this, or once I get newsworthy, I will be able to, to facilitate all of this. Because mind you, I'm transforming these people. I'm not training them. And I was very selective about people I train. And I only trained them for transformation. If the client was not getting in shape within 2 or 3 weeks, I stopped training them because I couldn't afford to be training them for free and to walk around with them without getting results. And that's another thing why trainers don't advance with their clients is because they allow people to pay them and not get the transformation. So it's short-term money. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a big key, and it's a big mistake that a lot of trainers, even high-level trainers do it. They'll take the money and not get the person in shape, but that's something that I never did. Once the person stopped getting in shape, I said, yo, it's time for us to part ways. I'm only here for the transformation.
That's
Like
interesting because
my system
most.
doesn't do that.
Can you
Go
elaborate
ahead.
on that? Because that goes against a lot of the things that maybe we hear within the industry, where you hear it's about retention. You got to keep retaining,
Well,
your
no, man, I didn't learn it that way. Like I'm saying, I learned it from a Fortune 500 CEO perspective. If you're retaining the same client, how can you raise the price? They're not going to be apt to raise the price, even if your standing of living goes up. So you're going to have resentment with that client right off the top. So it's not a good business strategy for trainers. You have to let go of these clients. And I try to tell people, you're going to make more money if you have 2 or 3 trainers, right, that you're working with, right? And one's a expert in one facet, one's an expert in something else, and one's an expert in other thing. And you take the same client, and after you do 30 days with them, you go, hey, man, I'm finished with you, but I have my team. I'm going to refer you to my specialist. And they spend the money and learn something, but they kick you back a percentage. You always be making money that way. But trainers, the nature is inherently selfish, and and each trainer in their mind thinks they have a superior system. So it's very hard for them to understand and conform to give other people. There's certain characteristics of trainers that prevent them to be able to make that type of money. And that's why I had to eventually turn myself into the brand, because I had trainers working for me at one point. But because of the training nature, they weren't able to do it. And I wasn't able, I had trainers who I was charging the client $50,000 a month. I would have them on the road, paying them $25 a month, $25,000 a month, half, which is unheard of. Because I was a trainer, I understood, and I would come and check on them, and they weren't giving the client the program I was giving them because they felt their program was better. And I was like, my man, I'm giving you $25,000 a month. So I would have issues like that where I had to eventually shut down the training aspect and turn myself more into the brand, and that's how my business went into that direction. But if you retain a client, I would much rather, and I keep it honest with my clients. I said, look, you're at a point now where I think you can continue your fitness journey with somebody else. I got you in the best shape that you can get in. What are you interested in? Okay, I'm interested in Muay Thai. Well, hey, man, if you got a budget, I'm training some artists. Why don't I just call up the top Muay Thai guy and make an introduction for you so you can continue your fitness journey with somebody who's really qualified to teach you. Let me improve my skills on something else that I'm working on. Then you can come back to me. And then I've just built a relationship with the top Muay Thai guy.
Yeah.
That's how I always did it. So, when I had budgets, because plenty of times I had budgets for clients, most of the time I have a budget because I told you, I said, listen, I need to have blood work. I need to have this. Sometimes they have issues where they need specialists like with Puffy, with Diddy running for the marathon. We had Alberto Salazar training us for the runs. I was handling the strength and conditioning, but I had never ran a marathon before. So sometimes you have to put your ego, out of the way to get the project done.
Exactly, Mark. I'm wondering if that was like a difficult decision for you, especially at the beginning, because for lack of better terms, you were hustling, right? You knew that you were going to take losses at the beginning because you were building this network, turning into like your army in the future, and eventually all the pieces were going to fall into place. You kind of knew that ahead of time. Were you worried, especially maybe like the first time doing this, that hey, potentially this was going to cause negative press, or did you just knew it was the right decision and you had comfort in that?
Well, there was a few things that I knew. I knew that Black people had the money because people were wearing $300 or $400 sneakers that were non-functional. Fashion. But I knew that the culture had the money. I was from the culture. I was from Brooklyn. I was trying to target audiences that I watched and listened to that were influenced by people who lived in the hood to get them to be fit. Because I was still thinking civil rights activism via the fitness and what I was doing. So that always played a part in it. So I was always looking at it in that perspective. So I knew I wanted to reach people that way. I knew that they had the money, and I knew that Black people eventually were going to have to be looked upon as a viable source for fitness and wellness, because statistically, Blacks and Latinos, because they weren't recognized as the up and coming fitness. Now everything is targeted fitness towards that market, but back then it wasn't. I used to do meetings after I got established, and they used to tell me my clients are not substantial enough to do anything in fitness to give you an endorsement or contract because they're only black celebrities. To give you an idea, so it wasn't looked upon as a viable source that way. So in that regard, I think I broke a lot of barriers at that time, you know, because the people who did have deals at that time, they were getting pennies off of the video deals at that time, you know. So,
Yeah.
but I knew the money was there. I knew the audience was there. I just needed to have a breakthrough client to make it happen because I had built the infrastructure, training people for free. So, you know, I was young. I just came from the military, being fully empowered, getting in shape myself. I was transforming other people, and I came out. I was in charge of stuff. I was in the military and in the Gulf, so it didn't seem like eating the mackerel every day and drinking the protein shakes and living in the projects and running in the cold and all that stuff. It didn't seem like it was that difficult, or at the time I didn't have any doubt. I guess I was young and dumb.
Yeah, maybe we can if we can unpackage a couple of this. There's so much good stuff that was in there. And one of the things that you mentioned, which just blows my mind, and I'm sure others were thinking the same, is, you know, you made a whole bunch of sacrifices in order to be able to get to a point to where you're charging a client $50,000 a month. What does that process look like? What was the breakthrough deal for you? How do you go from $70 per session being like, wow, then to all of a sudden $50,000 a month? This is my price point.
The $70 was only the $70 was like for the 10 sessions, and then after that it went back to living into the projects until 1999. So that's from 93 to 99, 2000. I did that. I was living in the projects, eating that mackerel for years, building that infrastructure. So it definitely wasn't an overnight thing. But, you know, at the time, you know, I was in the battle. You know, I didn't. And this is the thing where I tell people to take care of your body and take care of your health. I didn't have insurance. I didn't have anything, but just from eating healthy as I could and working out, I never was sick the whole time from that duration. So, and I had the energy because I was bouncing. I had 2 or 3 other jobs to make ends meet at the time. You know, so at the time, so to enable me to do that at the end, one of my clients mentored me. I had an opportunity. I trained a guy who was D'Angelo's publicist, and I had put some size on him, and he was like, yo, I got an artist I want to get from behind the piano. You know, his music is great. He's incredible. This guy's a genius, but, you know, he's a little shy and introverted. We want to bulk him up, you know, cut him down. And I was talking to one of my clients. I said, I think this is the opportunity. And he told me to ask for $30,000 for the month. He said, but you got to get this guy in shape. You know, number one, you know, the labels and companies don't take you seriously unless you ask for a certain dollar amount, unbeknownst to me. Like, you know, number two, if you charge a celebrity a little bit of money, it's not enough money to motivate them to train. So you got to hit them with enough money where it's of value to them. If they miss that session, it doesn't register. And that's for all people, you know, like, you know, you're not going to get much motivation out of somebody charging them $25 a session because they can afford it. You know what I mean? And then psychologically, this goes back to my retention versus transformation. It's much easier to get somebody to pay $30,000 for a month than to pay $150 for 5 years. You know what I mean? Because it's temporary. Yeah. So you have to understand, like, you know what I mean? Like, fitness doesn't understand regular marketing, and that's a big problem. Trainers, they have a disconnect understanding the regular person. Because we're into it as fitness professionals, you got to take a step back and you got to talk to regular people who don't work out and understand what registers to them. Like, I go to these companies and I tell them all the time, you're better off cutting me a check or somebody I'm affiliated with if you wanted to register with the audience. And they go, why? We paying an athlete right now. And I said, the athletes don't register to people for fitness because they get paid to be in shape. Celebrities do. They look at me with a blank look. They don't understand. And they go, okay, Mark, we'll see. They don't understand. They don't understand what I just said. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why Yeezys sell more than athlete sneakers. You understand that?
You got to break it down for me more. You got to break it down for me, because on this one's going over my head.
Athlete is expected to be in shape. So from a person who doesn't work out perspective, it's harder for them to sell something fitness wise.
Yeah.
Psychologically, because the person expects them to be in shape. So it's more impactful for a rapper like Gucci to be ripped with an 8-pack who looks incredible right now to
Yeah.
a layman who is drinking syrup than it is for a Pete Sampras to have a sneaker on. Do you see why that would sell
Yeah.
more, a fitness product?
It's super interesting.
Or
And
Yeezy,
if
you
you look at
understand?
market trends,
Like
if you
people
look
don't,
at market trends, it's happening, right? I mean,
you know,
just saw Beyonce and that just partnered
I
up as
actually
well.
shouldn't be telling you.
Yeah.
I actually shouldn't be saying this stuff on the podcast. I'm giving you guys like the real secrets right now. So it's your mind state.
Yeah, that makes, and
Yeah,
I'm wondering.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mark.
And
So
they're all fighting for the same consumer. Fitness industry is all fighting for the same consumer who's already super saturated. I'm not.
one thing I see in the fitness industry, and you had kind of credited a lot of your success to basically your appetite of learning. And obviously, we all learn from different people we've interacted with. You talked about going after the people with suits and getting their acumen in whatever their field may be. How important for you would you recommend to personal trainers out there, et cetera, to also get advice from people outside the industry that could objectively look at it without any kind of bias and give new ideas?
It's very very important as a trainer, because again, a lot of trainers, because I'm not really like, I'm in the fitness industry, but you could ask how many fitness professionals who are famous who know me, they're gonna tell you no. You could ask some artists, they're gonna say, yeah, I know why. So I'm not, I feel like I'm in the industry, but I'm not really in the industry. So you got to just take a step back at how you look at yourself. You know what I mean? And how you view the industry. That's the biggest thing. I think is the biggest mistake. People, you got to just like, we're too close to it as fitness professionals. Ask regular folks, man. That's the best way I could explain to it. Talk to people, and that's what I did. I just made sure I got information from regular people. Like, how would you do it? Like people who had no fitness experience. Like, even my manager today has never managed anybody in fitness before. Has not much fitness experience, but a lot of music experience. So, and marketing.
Yeah, there's been so much good stuff within this. Yeah, it's if I'm looking at all of the trends that are kind of happening within the space, I'm curious kind of where you see it going, because with kind of technology coming up and people battling for the consumer, they're all kind of going for like the monthly residual. You have Apple coming up with their Fitness Plus. It's a little membership and $9, $19 a month or something like that. And you're talking about something that's totally different. And it's great to have this
Yeah, I
other
mean,
kind of opinion.
the platforms are there. So those platforms, like, I don't see myself being able to compete with, I have, as far as the digital space, like, so the platforms, I don't think I'm a win. I think I'm a win with myself as a brand and the entity and personality. So that's where I try to push my thing. Each trainer has to develop it towards their own personality, and trainers are going to have to, even for me, like, I tell you, man, if you look at my social from 3 years ago, I never had a picture with no shirt on. I always felt uncomfortable. So
Mhm.
strangely enough, because I'm just not from that era. I'm old. I'm 50 years old. So for me, you know what I'm saying, to be on the thing, to be there. But now, if you look at every picture, I don't got no shirt on, because you have to adapt and you have to expose yourself more to the market. I never wanted to. I'm not much of a. That's why you don't hear my story that much in depth, because I was never really want to talk about it unless somebody asked me. But now you have to create more content. So I see myself more as a idea and content creator, and linking, fitness to brands, and making it cool and how people understand it. But each trainer has to find out where they fit into it. And a lot of that is by training. You have to train and explore your training. You have to take yourself to different parameters. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to train with other people. I don't run with anybody who I'm faster than. I never lifted with anybody who I was stronger than. before the pandemic, I was at the 10th Planet headquarters at 50, doing jiu-jitsu white belt classes with the 20, rolling with a 20-year-old. Yeah, I just never, because I got introduced to it getting my ass kicked. So it wasn't nothing to me. So you got to, that's the biggest thing to, just if you keep that in your mind. And then a couple of these people will recognize me. They say, "Aren't you Mark Jenkins? What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm trying to get it in. I'm trying to get some ground game." So, that's the biggest thing. So in this way, I keep learning because I'm training with experts, and it's still fun for me, and I still feel sincerely I have something new to give to the client. Because once I don't feel sincerely I have something to offer, then I'm hustling you for the money. Then it's not fun for me. And also as a personal trainer, even as a consumer, your body is something, it's the vessel that houses your spirit. It's too important to have someone else responsible for it. You need to learn how to take care of your own body eventually. So your trainer should be training you to empower yourself. And you should only be training with a trainer if it's optional. You shouldn't need to have to maintain your fitness through a trainer because it's your body, especially in this COVID environment. So, I just wanted to get that out. It's something that's sacred, your body, and it's a relationship that I take very seriously. Throughout the 30 years, I've had terminally ill patients, clients, any disease you can measure, clients that got shot, heart attack, killed, and, you develop these bonds with these clients. So I try to teach them the best I can to empower themselves. So even if something happens to me or they're not with me anymore, the important thing is they continue their fitness journey, and for all of you guys out there who are in the fitness journey, if you're working out and you're not taking those lessons that you're applying and putting in other facets of your life, you don't understand. You're not really on the fitness journey. You're supposed to be taking those lessons and consistency that you learn from the gym and apply that to being a better parent, to being a better custodian of the earth, to being a better person. And that's how you get the full circle. That's how the wellness is able to pay for you. That's how you're able to pay for your wellness, because you get so much back from it, so much energy that you're applying to your job. You have more money, so you can free yourself from the wheel and live the fitness lifestyle. Because a lot of trainers are encouraging people, but they're not living the fitness lifestyle. So I encourage you guys, to try to truly embody it, and then it'll happen for you.
Yeah, there's been a lot of chat that's been going from the audience. I'm not sure if you've seen it from your end. This has been really great. Additionally, there was a lot of questions that came through from the audience as well. Would it be all right if I read off a couple of those questions so that this way we can jump into some of the things that they were hoping that you can cover? Awesome.
I told you got to cut me though, because I ramble,
Hey, they're here for you, not for me and Kaylin. So the more you talk, the better.
Yeah, we're not cutting you. Awesome. So one of the questions that came through, this one here is from Rita. She's out of the UK. She asked, what are stars mainly looking for from your workout programs, and what strategies do you have to achieve that? So maybe like a way to kind of like compare it is, what's the difference between training a star and training a regular person?
It's funny because now the game has changed, man. There's no, for a long time, there's no celebrity trainers anymore. That was a certain era in time, and then, like I said, trainers, what happened at that time, once I apexed, trainers started undercutting each other to start training celebrities. Now you have trainers training celebrities for free just to get Instagram on likes. So there's no celebrity trainers anymore. So as far as how do you train a star and all of that stuff, that is a phenomenon for a certain decade or two of time, and it was great while it lasted. But trainers, and this is another thing with the fitness industry, trainers, you got to maintain a standard level of fee. You guys got to stop. We got to stop undercutting each other, because you devalue, and then somebody can go to someone else. It lowers the rate for everybody. Trainers, and we've been doing this for years, you know what I mean? Like, these trainers are literally training these celebrities for free, going on tour with them, running around with them. No insurance, no benefit, just for the Instagram or phenomenal. And for me, $50,000, $30,000, it might sound like a lot, but once you come off tour, you got to start your business all over again with your one-on-one clients, so every time you leave, you got to start all over again. So it's not as much money as you think. So it's definitely, but now I think it's more, like I said, of the personality, being digital, where you want to go with it, what you're trying to get into lifestyles right now, and yeah, and doing stuff that's creative. Like I'm not even, for example, I want to ride the. I feel like riding California on a motorcycle, so I'm not even calling companies asking for money. I'm like, listen, look, here's a bike I like. Just shrink wrap it. I want to teach some classes around the United States via audio, man. Maybe I'll go to Joshua Tree. Here's the bike. Here's my budget, man. Let's get it popping, have some fun, man. Do some fitness companies that are into the environment, eco-friendly. I'm into doing stuff like that and keeping it exciting for myself, because now I'm riding cross country. I have to keep myself in shape. I got another challenge. I'm having fun. And that's how you continue. I always tried to do projects that were exciting for me, as well as beneficial for the client and for the people and for the culture. So that's a big thing where I see it going now. So whatever your niche is as a fitness person, and I've had clients who've done it better than me. Like I trained this one lady, she was a lawyer, and I was telling her my story, and she was like, Mark, but a big time lawyer, heavyweight. She's like, Mark, I think I could do this. I'm gonna be a trainer. I was like, really? And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna be a golf trainer. And I was like, really? And she became a golf trainer for $500 an hour doing external rotation. And she hired a bunch of blonde external rotation people to do it, who are beautiful, and started this big ass company where they come on the golf course and they're just beautiful blonde ladies, and they do internal, external rotation. And they get contracts with the court, like it's complimentary to the play, and just became rich and subsidized her money and checked out of her. She goes, this is so depressing for me, man. Her job, I'm making a lot of money, but I like your fitness lifestyle. And she did it better than me. So I've had a few clients who actually surpassed, because they knew it. They understood the marketing better than me, because that's what they did, interestingly enough. So it's all about you guys finding your niche. Like for me, my thing was, I had trained so many people. Like at this point, I have over 40,000 hours of training clients, so I can get someone in shape down to the day, to the minute. So for so some companies who that's a value for, like the Cannes Film Festival, movies, fight scenes, whatever, videos, that's a value, but you just got to find your niche. And like I said, a lot of that stuff is not happening anymore due to the pandemic. So, you just got to find what you're doing, keep it exciting, and evolve with the times, and just keep it fun for yourself, and then keep it real with yourself while you're in it, and be sincere with yourself while you're about it. Because fitness is something that genuinely you can't fake it when you're with somebody, especially when you're with somebody who's intuitive, like a celebrity or something. Anybody who's high level at what they're doing has a certain level of intuition. I've found out through the years that you can't really fake with them. That's why they're on that level. So like, it's like you have to actually know what you're doing if you're training a Johnny Cochran. So, or Mary J. Blige or LL Cool J, or whoever maybe, or Beyonce, and they're expecting you to get them in shape at a certain amount of time if you say so. So whatever you do charge, you have to actually be able to, like for every client, for me was life or death. When I got D'Angelo, I was at his hotel every morning, sleeping in front of the hotel room, sleeping in front of the studio. And when I tour with these people, I would embed with them, I would really be embedded. Like, we would be like, any client, like, let's just say Mary J. Blige, she, any artist has an A group and a B group. The A group is on a private jet. They're on the yacht. They're in the St. Regis Hotel or the Peninsula. And the B group is at the regular hotel. They fly regular. And, as a trainer, because they want to save money, they will put me in the B group. And then I would have to travel. And sometimes the hotels are far away because, save money to get to Mary, to get her in shape. And I would just tell all of my clients, or any client I was training, I was like, listen, I got to be in the A group. I got to have first class. I need the seat right next to you. I need to be in the private jet. I need to be in the hallway across from you. So you need to have no reason not to train. You need to be able to get in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I need to be intercepting your food. I need to be making sure you get your meals in. So I need to have the gym prep to get it empty because you're too famous to train at that time. We need to rock it like that. So I would really embed with these artists. I think I'm the first trainer to introduce mandatory blood work with these clients, because I couldn't guarantee the transformation unless I knew where their testosterone hormone levels was back then in 2000. So I think I was the first one who implemented that with clients, because it was all about me getting as much, and that was from training doctors who high level find. I said, yo, how come I make? Say, yo, your trainers don't know shit, man. You're just speculating. It's just a guess, man. You're telling people supplements and vitamins to take, but you don't even know their levels. And I was like, you know what? You're right. How can I, and I used to have this guy. Now it's a business,
Mm-hmm.
But those were things that I would do to constantly keep adding value so I could add the price. So a lot of the money was not going to me, but my service was so incredible, I would be able to get $50,000 a month. By the time you pay the doctor, this, that, and the other. And then I would make sure there was some type of expert that I can get training from in the mix so that I could learn,
Excellent, Mark. And I'm wondering, I'm sure you alluded to it, kind of adapting to the whatever environment we're in at the time. We obviously know we're in a unique experience at the moment without saying the words. But over the past few months, obviously the hotel, the model, or traveling with celebrities or with the people you're training might not be as accessible or possible at the moment. We have a question from the audience here asking about one, how big is virtual sessions for you at the moment, and if you're doing them, and then do you also find difficulties in it?
I got a couple. I think I have 3 physical clients right now. That's it. The rest is virtual, and I have my transformation, markjenkinsfitness.com 30-60-day transformation online right now, and the rest I'm doing virtually. At the beginning, I didn't like it. I think I don't still like it because I was it's harder to get the person in the position, properly, to recruit the muscle fiber to get them to where they're actually. So it takes a lot more reps. You waste a lot more reps. I find as a trainer, getting the person actually locked into the position where they're really activating the muscle, and you got to watch a little bit more. So I'm always like, I feel like because it's not 3-dimensional,
staring through the screen.
Right. I'm looking at the screen. I have a couple of 62-year-old clients I'm training for bikinis right now. They got a couple of pre-existing conditions, and I put pressure on, and this is another thing, like I put pressure on my clients, you gotta, because I'm coming from the military, because the person paid me, like I get money from a celebrity client. They tell me one thing, in my mind I have another thing. Like when they gave me a check for D'Angelo, they told me they just wanted him to be able to come from behind the piano. I was like, dude, you're responding pretty good. I think you could do the video with no shirt on, man. He was like, word. I said, yo, you should just go all the way. And then we were able to get the turnaround. So, they didn't think he could go from, no one had seen that type of transformation before. So I always dictate to the client, like if someone like the lady, for example, she told me it'd be cool to be able to get into a one piece. She's 62, right? Breast cancer survivor. I said, so when she said one piece, I said bikini. You see what I'm saying? Because if we go for the bikini, she's definitely going to make the one piece. So you always have to dictate as a trainer, where you want to take it in the direction. Although you respect what the client says, I don't want to misdirect you young guys, because some will say I have bad trainer habits, coming from that background. But you got to use, if you have to dictate where you want them to go, man. You got to, because they don't know sometimes. They don't know how good they can be. They've never seen their body, at the optimal. So you have to use and a lot of that for me was just like studying bodies and going to museums and looking at art and really understanding how you could change someone's lines, how, you can't, and that's what I liked about it, training the artists, because, I had the freedom, you can't change someone's waist, but you can accentuate their quads and their shoulder cap. So from the visual, make their waist look smaller and create the hourglass. Mm-hmm. You can accentuate the lats, to create the hourglass. And that was something that I enjoyed about, and still enjoy about training people, because I always try to leave my signature X on certain clients. You can, I think my clients have a signature look If you look at the celebrities who got transformed, that's aesthetically pleasing coming from a bodybuilding background, but at the same time, like Mary J. Blige, she could probably do every jump rope trick I can do. D'Angelo, they really had, I really went athletic ability with them, and we really trained with experts, Like when she wanted to go swim, we went and hired her triathlete swim coach when she wanted to learn how to swim, because although I'm in the Navy, I know how to swim, make a flotation device out of my clothes, this, that, and the other. Why not get the expert who's really doing it in the waves, right? I mean, so that's what you have to understand as a trainer. It's always adding value to the client. You got to take your ego out of it.
Definitely. Maybe a follow up to Derek's question on the virtual, because as soon as he said virtual, he ended up making me think about just the pandemic and COVID, people going virtual out of necessity. And this has been a crazy time for everybody. I'm curious, during this time, what's been your biggest success during the pandemic, during this time for your business? Mm-hmm.
You know what? I can tell you the most fun I had. I'm about to go back to, I don't know what my biggest success. I mean, I guess it's forcing me, it's forcing me actually to do more business, develop the digital. It's forcing all of us. So as a trainer, I'm more apt to, like I said, it's not really inherent for me to be talking, although I'm talking to you guys to death, but I'm not one to do it unless someone asks me or to put somebody out. So I'm more, and I think we have to get more into creating content and learning how to market to regular people. Like learn that visual stuff is more exciting, and stuff combined with music is more exciting, and stuff combined with lifestyle is more exciting than the actual exercise itself. And when we understand, and it's hard for trainers to understand that because we're so focused on the actual exercise. You can get someone to exercise more if you sell them on the vibe. Especially the younger kids, if you can sell them more on the vibe. So I'm trying to create more stuff that has a certain vibe to it. Like, I'm trying that, but still that's genuine to me. You know what I mean? Because not everybody's in the riding motorcycles or the hip hop community, but there's all stuff that we like that's cool, that's inherent to us, that if we just think about it, like, hey man, that ties in pretty good with wellness, or nobody's doing that. If we could just develop that for ourselves, we'd be like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Or if you have something you're interested in, if you're a fitness trainer, go find an expert and train them for free and then learn it, man. They'll probably train with you virtually. Yeah, especially.
Yeah.
So, I'm doing a lot more digital stuff now and marketing and stuff like this. So I'm thankful for you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're super appreciative for you joining us today. So it's been super, super great. I think one of the other things that definitely came through in your in the presentation that you had today was a couple of things. Is one, you're always looking for a mentor in some way. You're finding somebody who's better than you at something, learning through osmosis.
Oh, yeah,
and taking that. You mentioned you run with somebody who's faster than you train with somebody who's stronger than you, those types of things. Now, like that, you've gotten to the place to where you're at within your career and all of your accomplishments. Do you have any mentors and people that you look to now for inspiration in the industry and out?
In the industry now, yeah, man. I probably the same guys. Because I was always a student of it, man. So I was always a big, Paul Check guy. I always liked him. I never met him. Some of these Victor Martinez as a trainer, Charles Glass. There were always a lot of Poliquin. I was always a big reader of his Poliquin principles. I was always a big proponent of that. I was always a big fan of these guys. And so I was always studying most of these guys and looking for mentors. Now, a lot of times I look at the young guys just to see what type of energy they're coming with vibe wise. I think now a lot of younger guys, they have the vibe and the energy mastered, but now it has to be more substantial. It's like, if you look at social media now, you see exercises that are flashy. Every exercise is a exercise that's gonna grab your attention, or a trick or something. It's not, but most of those people, they wouldn't be able to do those if they weren't doing the basics as well, or built a certain foundation to be able to do that stuff. So a lot of times, you know, in the industry, I think there's a lot of, and it also has to do with the client's attention span too. So, you know, because a lot of times I have to explain it to clients. They're like, yo, I want to do like you and do a 360 jump rope, do a 360 into a squat, and then do a lunge. I said, yeah, but, you know, to do that, you would have to be able to do a pistol squat first, right? Because now you're doing it with torque. You're going to blow your, you know what I mean? You have to explain. You have to do a basic squat. You would have to build it up, and there's a process. Let's strengthen your surrounding tissue so you don't get injured. Let's see what type of shape you're in now. There's a. But that is the stuff that separates you from other trainers, because now it just turns into stupid human tricks. Everybody's just doing a trick, and then it ultimately devalues the profession. Ultimately. So we got to understand, like, you know, fitness guys, you got to have value for yourselves and understand that you're the step before people start going to the doctor. You know, we're the step before people start getting sick. Oftentimes, before people go to the doctor, we're already exposed to the virus, because what do they want to do? Go sweat out the cold? Oh, I had to sweat it off to feel better. So we're the first ones we're at the front lines. You got to have enough expertise and enough respect for yourself to charge people accordingly. You know what I mean? Don't, because, you know, you most of the time you don't have insurance, you don't have benefits. And for that, you have to be able to provide a service. So you have to have enough skill level to be able to do that. You know, people don't respect personal trainers as a profession. And a lot of it is because of the way we conduct ourselves. You know, I'll walk past a trainer, and that trainer would say, I suck to the same client that I'm training. But he doesn't know that that's lowering. And, you know, trainers do that all the time. Trainers are like models, man. Wait, man, when I first started training models, I was like, oh, shit, they're just like trainers. The gym is like the catwalk, man.
Yeah.
Mark, after already being very successful, obviously, what continues to motivate you at this point?
Before the COVID, I was trying to go MMA. That's why I was doing the jiu-jitsu to get some ground games. So, I figured, I figured at 50, I said, maybe because, I feel so great, but I think it's going to end because, I've never been this old before. And I'm like, damn, you're not supposed to feel this good. But, I'm doing, I'm still running 8 to 10, 8-minute miles, 8:30. I'm still I'm still training hard, man, out here every day. I'm jumping rope for an hour and a half to 2 hours. You see what I'm doing on the gram. So I said, shit, man, I never got a trophy because I was fat and never did an athletic endeavor. So, I got the marathon, I got a ribbon, but that's not a trophy. So I said, shit, I would like to get a trophy. What can I do? And I said, I'm so old. I don't have that much time to get a level of expertise at any one thing to be competitive. So I figured, I said, well, maybe if I do MMA, because it's a combination, I could do some type of old man contest and try to get a trophy. So that's what I was doing.
An old man contest.
The pandemic. Yeah, I figured I could get into an old man's league or something.
We'll have to in about 6 months from now. Then next time we talk, we'll be doing a promo video of the fight. That's what we'll be doing.
But I was only a year and a half, maybe, because then I got scared because because New Year's resolution came. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to join the jiu-jitsu. But then I started getting anxiety every day. I was driving up there. I was walking. And then it took me 3 or 4 months into the year to actually join. So that cut my year time. So I'm a super white belt.
They made that one now.
I haven't been going since the COVID started, but I've been rocking with a jiu-jitsu dummy. But, it's not the same as rolling. So I got postponed on my endeavor. So that's what I was doing. That was my plans pre-COVID. I also had a 6-story gym that I was designing. A company called me to design stock options, the whole shebang. And I had something else, a big deal coming out. But the COVID eliminated all of that. Because the investors, obviously, nobody's building a 6-story gym right now. And this, that, and the other. So I was motivated for that. But right now, what's motivating me is I haven't been in the gym in a year. I have not touched a weight inside the gym. So I'm fascinated with maintaining my conditioning and fitness with minimal equipment. So I got 89-pound kettlebell, a 30-pound steel mace, a jiu-jitsu dummy, Swiss ball, some bands, a 45-pound kettlebell as well, and that's it. Some parachutes, and I've been able to maintain my physique. I'm not, you know what got small? My calves. I haven't been able to overload my calves enough to. That's interestingly enough. That's the thing that my body has missed the most. That I can say is atrophied the most since this year experiment. But I've been experimenting, trying to maintain my physique and body fat with minimal equipment right now. So I have not been back to the gym since the pandemic started. And I would say the highlight, what was motivating me before, is what I'm going to start doing again, is I was teaching 3 times a week for free during the lockdown. And that was probably the most fun I've had in a long time. I haven't taught class in years. So that was cool. So I actually was teaching class. Yeah, so that was fun. You know, I started as an aerobics instructor in that gym for many years. Most people don't know I was aerobics certified when I got personal training. So I was actually a 250-pound step instructor with 22 inch legs. teaching the slide. I have my little slide socks on, you know, getting inside the side. So I've been doing this for a long time. So, you know, that was fun. It was fun to teach class again. And the classes are on my IGTV Live. They're still on there. So if anybody wants to check them out. But I think I'm going to start again pretty soon for January, you know, because I was able to, like I said, you know, I try to make it fun for me. I called up Duck Down. I said, hey, man, can I use all your music for my class? They said, yeah. So I did a boot camp click, you know, Duck Down, Brooklyn. Those are guys, Brooklyn MCs. So that was quite an honor for me. So I'm trying to get live DJs and try to teach the classes in some of my clients' fancy art spaces so people can get a vibe. I'm just trying to do stuff like that. So that's probably give me the highlight now. I'm looking to see, you know, just like you guys, where I fit in this. How could I make it fun for myself and make $1 at the same time? Because the whole thing with fitness is that once it's not fun, it's like it's having a corporate gig. You got to make it fun for yourself. I know so many trainers who are not enthused about their own training because they're giving so much energy, but they're not getting anything back. You got to switch up your clients, change your circuit. They're not enthused about dieting. They're not enthused about talking to people about it because they're constantly giving so much to other people. So you got to, and then once you're coming from that place, you're going to inherently attract people to you in situations you that you're going to like,
That's great. Mark, we're at time, man. That hour flew. Thanking you so much for taking the time in order to join us and share all of those pearls of wisdom. I'm going to go back and re-listen to this because there was a lot of great information in there, man. Thank you so much.
Just edit the rambling.
Yeah.
We're actually going to edit out every single time Kaylin and myself talk.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much, man. I had a ball, you know, and let me know when I can get a free class, man. I want to do an hour on a Fit Nation, man. I'm down. Let me know when you want to.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that sounds good, man. We'll definitely follow up on that one. All right, Mark.
All right, guys. Peace and love. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody else who joined us today. We really appreciate you taking the time in order to join us, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.